Oh hey, it's Wes, and I just received the new AD200 Pro Mark II, or just 2, or I don't know. Real quick, the first thing we're going to do, as we always do, is have our overheating torture test. And this should react quite differently from the original AD200 Pro. We're going to be doing it with a Fresnel head, because that's where I torture my flashes the most, say during a wedding reception, and you want to get all the shots all the time. This one, we have a new head that has a fan in it. Is that going to make a big difference? It is, and in ways that you don't expect, that I didn't expect. But first thing I'm going to do is answer the question that everybody has been asking. Does the new head fit on the old flash? No, it doesn't. There is an extra set of contacts here, right there, that is going to prevent this from fitting on the new flashes. So, new heads are not compatible. Let me check out the other heads. Yep, here's our bulb head. Not compatible. There is an extra set of contacts, so suddenly we've created some incompatibility. But the old head is, however, perfectly compatible, and you can mount this on the AD200. All right, let's hit it with our torture test. So we've got this on an intervalometer. We're starting with in sync at 1/2 power. To see how these go, we have the AD200, the AD200 Pro, and the Pro II. And as you can see, just 39 seconds in, the fan turns on this flash. And it is not super quiet. You can definitely hear it going. So if you need to be absolutely quiet, wouldn't recommend it. We're talking about like just slightly under 40 decibels at 3 feet away, but it is audible. And if we check the maximum external temperature of the casing, we see that the Pro II is coming in at about 30 degrees Celsius, the Pro I at 21 degrees, and the original AD200 25. That surprised me. We have a fan on the front of the Pro II, but the body is getting hotter faster. Now if we check out the temperature of the front of the flash, now we have to be careful to do that when it's not firing, because I was assuming with the fan on, the Pro II would end up significantly cooler because it's cooling the Fresnel head. We see that the front of the Pro II is 47 degrees Celsius, the AD200 Pro is 51, and the original AD200 is 51. So it is maintaining temperature a little bit better right now. And no surprise there, the original AD200 gives up the ghost at 84 flashes. It is rated for 75 according to the manual at this output within a 10-minute space, so not too bad. There, our next failure, not too far behind, rated for the same number, but we got 88 flashes out of the original Pro, also rated for 75 with the Fresnel, 120 with the bulb. The bulb can radiate that heat a little more easily. Also, it's made of glass, not plastic. And then finally, the Pro II, which is rated for 93 shots, came out at 101. Impressive. Not a massive increase, the likes of the V1 Pro that really upped the ante, but still a solid increase. But you gotta pay the price by having that slightly bigger head with the fan. Now, one thing that I have to mention, as soon as these things started thermally throttling, you can keep firing, it just slows down. I turned them off. This is not a problem for the original AD200 and the original Pro, because you can see the Fresnel head has a gap underneath it and air can flow up through pretty easily. That's a very intentional design choice, but that results in some spillage and what a lot of people complain about, the weird pattern that the original 200 Fresnel head creates when it's firing. However, this is much more sealed off here. There are some little holes here, but it's not a full flow through. So with the new Pro II, it's sealed off. And when you turn it off, even though it is a soft key to turn it off, which I don't like, it shuts the whole thing down. And the fan turns off. And so the first two, after 20 minutes, they both, on the head, return to room temperature 19 degrees, the first two. The Pro II, after 20 minutes, was still at 30 degrees Celsius. I don't normally move on to the next part of this test, the high-speed sync test, until everything's cooled down to room temperature. After 30 minutes, it was 25, 40 minutes, it was 23. After an hour, this was 21.2, still was not completely room temperature yet. It's 18, 19 degrees in here. Stick around, subscribe. In my full review, I'm going to test and see if that's going to become a problem. Because the originals will cool down real fast if you shut them off, but let's say you're at a wedding or an event or something. Logically, you think, okay, I've been pushing this hard, I'm going to turn it off for a few minutes so it can cool down. That is the opposite of what you want to do with the Pro II. You want to leave it on so that fan can run. If you turn it off, the heat just stays built up inside. And I'm going to do another modified torture test of this for the full review to make sure that that can't become a catastrophic problem. So again, subscribe for that. Let's move on to the high-speed sync test. Here we are once again firing at 1/2 power, this time at 1/1000th of a second high-speed sync to see how these can hold out. And as you can see, after only a minute of that, the fan turns on again. And then, interesting, a lot of people blame the wireless triggering system for misfires, but the AD200, the original, misfired. So it did a sync pop, not a high-speed sync pop, and that will cause some issues in your photos. The other two did not do that. And then the original fails at exactly 2 minutes after 29 high-speed sync flashes. Now we have the temperature warning on the AD200 Pro. Thermal throttling at 2 minutes 52 seconds and 43 flashes. We check our temperatures now. We have 48 degrees on the front of the Pro II. We have 39 degrees on the front of the Pro, and 36 degrees on the front of the original AD200, which is expected. They've been shut off already, and the Pro II is going harder for longer. Now we have the temperature warning on the Pro II. And there we go, it's given out at 5 minutes and 32 seconds, or 82 high-speed sync flashes, a significant, almost doubling, and it is more than doubling of the rated amount, because the original Pro went above rated for 30, went for 43. This one went for 82, fantastic, but that fan is roaring. This time, however, I left the fan on to let that cool down the way that Godox intended. Interestingly enough, this did not smell like burnt plastic while I was doing this test. Every other time I've done this high-speed sync torture test, the room has filled with just the most noxious of smells. You know exactly what that smell is. This one did not. It did not smell like burnt plastic. I feel like it had a lot more to go, or maybe they just do a better job of using low VOC adhesives and plastics. Who knows? Anyway, subscribe, stick around. We're gonna go super in-depth, use this real world professionally, and see if the 2 is a worthy successor to the 1. And until then, I'm gonna go take a lot of photos.